On October 19, 2025, Paris awoke to a headline that stunned the nation. The accent conquering France, millions of French now prefer Filipino English. The story revealed a cultural shift. French citizens, from students to executives, were turning away from traditional British and American English. They sought something warmer, more human. Data showed a 700% surge in French users requesting Filipino tutors on language platforms. Learners described their Filipino tutors as friends, not just teachers. They felt encouraged, not judged. The article painted a nation falling in love with an accent, gentle, clear, and kind. Conversations erupted in cafes and classrooms across France. For centuries, the gold standard was the Queen's English or American broadcasters. Now, public opinion was shifting. The focus was no longer on perfect native-like accents. It was about connection and learning without fear. The Filipino way of speaking English offered exactly that. The revelation challenged long-held beliefs about language. Thousands had already discovered this world quietly, using apps to connect with Filipino tutors. They found learning more effective because it was more human. The Le Monde article brought this private revolution into the spotlight. It sparked a national conversation about empathy and understanding. The story wasn't just about accents, it was about the need for connection in a disconnected world. France was listening, and it was captivated. A linguistic revolution had begun. Claire Duval, a respected English teacher in Lyon, believed in precision and rules. Her classroom was a shrine to receive pronunciation. She played BBC recordings, corrected students firmly, and insisted on native-like accents. To Claire, any deviation was a flaw. She saw non-native accents as hurdles, not valid expressions. Her philosophy was shaped by her own training in Cambridge. She often told students, "To be understood in business and diplomacy, you must sound the part." The Philippines, to her, was known for beaches, not English. She believed the best English came only from native lands. One evening, Claire overheard her daughter Sophie chatting in English with a warm, unfamiliar melody. Sophie was on a video call with Lena, a Filipino tutor she'd found online. Claire was skeptical, ready to intervene, but she saw Sophie's joy. Her shy daughter was laughing and speaking freely. Sophie wasn't afraid of mistakes. Lena encouraged her, celebrated every small victory. Claire watched for several evenings, her certainties eroding. She saw her daughter's confidence blossom in a way her own methods never achieved. A seed of doubt was planted. Could her professional philosophy be wrong? Was there more to teaching English than perfecting an accent? The trend that surprised Claire was already sweeping France. Technology and dissatisfaction with rigid methods fueled it. For years, English classes focused on grammar and fear of mistakes. Students could read Shakespeare but dreaded real conversations. Online platforms changed everything. Learners could choose tutors worldwide. At first, French users chose UK and US tutors, but found sessions expensive and distant. Some native tutors lacked patience and teaching skills. Then, Filipino tutors appeared, friendly profiles, accessible rates, glowing reviews. French learners were amazed by their empathetic, encouraging style. Lessons focused on communication, not just correction. Fear of judgment faded. Word spread quickly. You have to try a Filipino tutor. They make you want to speak. This wasn't just about cost. It was about a better, more humane experience. Filipino tutors, often bilingual themselves, understood the struggles of learning a new language. Platforms promoted them heavily. Soon, businesses and schools joined in. The digital shift opened a door, and France eagerly walked through. The Filipino approach was changing not just how, but why the French learned English. It was about confidence, connection, and kindness. A new era in language learning had arrived. What made the Filipino English accent so captivating? Linguists noted its gentle melodic cadence, less intimidating to French ears than British or American accents. Rhotic R sounds and clear vowels made it easy to understand, but the appeal went deeper. French learners described the accent as soft, kind, and patient. It felt like the tutor was on their side. The Filipino accent was global English, accessible, non-judgmental, free from colonial baggage. Testimonials poured in. With my Filipino tutor, I feel like I'm talking to a friend who wants me to succeed. The accent symbolized a new way of learning, partnership, encouragement, and joy. The French learned it was okay to be imperfect. The sound of empathy became the sound of liberation. Claire, haunted by her daughter's progress, created a secret profile on Sophie's language app. She booked a session with Marco, a Filipino tutor from Cebu. Marco greeted her with a warm smile and welcoming voice. Claire, posing as a beginner, expected grammar drills. Instead, Marco asked about her day, her hobbies, her joys. He listened intently, gently repeating sentences and encouraging her. For the first time, Claire felt no pressure, only understanding. Over weeks, she learned about Marco's life and shared her own. The message was connection, not correction. Marco's method built confidence first, knowing grammar would follow. Claire realized her old approach destroyed confidence in pursuit of perfection. She brought this softness into her classroom, starting lessons with simple questions, focusing on meaning over mistakes. Her students relaxed, collaboration replaced tension. Claire, once a defender of strict accents, became an advocate for compassionate communication. The transformation was profound. She saw that empathy was the true foundation of learning. What began as a niche trend exploded into a national phenomenon. French media covered the story. TV channels aired interviews with families and their Filipino tutors. The Filipino wave became a household term. Media coverage legitimized the trend, erasing stigma. Demand for Filipino tutors soared. Language platforms struggled to keep up. The Ministry of Education commissioned studies on the Filipino teaching style. Schools and parents discussed bringing these methods into the curriculum. The conversation shifted. Not which accent is best, but what teaching is most humane and effective. The Filipino accent became chic, associated with kindness, patience, and global citizenship. Some traditionalists resisted, but positive experiences drowned them out. Students learned faster and enjoyed the process. The Filipino wave changed not just English learning, but attitudes toward language itself. Institutions raced to embrace this grassroots movement. Claire knew she had to see the source of this empathy firsthand. In summer 2026, she flew to the Philippines, welcomed by Marco and his family. Manila was vibrant, but what struck her most was the ever-present warmth and smiles. Marco's home was filled with laughter and community. Claire saw pakikipag kapwa, shared identity, in action, shared meals, stories, and care for elders. Marco's patience wasn't just a teaching technique, it was a way of life. At Marco's Language Center, Claire met tutors who radiated positivity. Many were highly educated, choosing tutoring for their passion to connect. They saw themselves as confidence builders, not just grammar instructors. Claire was humbled by their dedication and understanding of the human side of learning. On her last day, she asked Marco, "Why are you all so kind?" Marco replied, "In our culture, we believe we are all connected. Your success is our shared success. We teach with our hearts." Everything clicked for Claire. The accent, teaching style, and values were intertwined. It was a holistic approach to communication, built on shared humanity. Claire returned home transformed. She understood the true power of empathy in education. The Filipino way was a lesson for the world. The Filipino English accent's appeal lies in humility and approachability. It doesn't demand to be the standard, it's a tool for clear, friendly communication. This humility puts learners at ease, signaling partnership, not judgment. The accent embodies global English, a shared practice, not a privilege. Rooted in the Filipino concept of kapwa, it fosters equality and connection. Filipino speakers focus on making listeners comfortable, not asserting authority. The rhythm and intonation build bridges, not walls. For French learners, this is liberating. Lessons become genuine cultural exchanges about family, dreams, and daily life. Emotional bonds accelerate learning. The Filipino accent proves language is more than words. It's empathy and relationship. The most effective communication comes from genuine connection, not perfect grammar. The Filipino accent speaks to the heart, making understanding the true goal. The Filipino wave transformed French education. The Ministry of Education recommended a shift to a communications-first approach, inspired by Filipino tutors. Teacher training now includes modules on empathy and global Englishes. French schools partner with Philippine language centers for group video sessions. The Filipino accent is now seen as clear, pleasant, and effective. Media and public perception have changed. Filipino characters and stories are celebrated. The Philippines is recognized as a powerhouse of education and soft skills. This revolution taught France that language is a bridge, not just a skill. The Filipino accent, carried by warmth and empathy, became the catalyst. When language is spoken with heart, it becomes a force for a more compassionate world.